Ahead of his arrival in East Africa, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says it's important that the current conflict in the eastern parts of the Democratic Republic of Congo be stopped. Thousands have fled homes and many killed with the recent reports of M23 rebels as they continue to rain terror in that part of the DRC. There are fears that a current standoff between the DRC and Rwanda may lead to security instability in the Great Lakes region.
There are deep concerns about the violence that we've seen, about the potential for that getting worse and spreading in eastern Congo. And there's a shared determination to see if, through our own diplomacy, in coordination with other partners, we can help reduce the tension, reduce the violence, and help put these countries on a path to both resolving their differences, but also looking at what steps can be taken to actually address the well-being of the people who live particularly in eastern Congo.
Espoir Ngalukiye is a Congolese social activist who joins us now from the DRC capital of Kinshasa. So, a very good evening to you, Espoir. Thanks for speaking to us. How has the U.S. Secretary of State been received in your country?
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you to receive me.
Yes, I can hear you. You can continue.
Yeah, the U.S. Secretary is in Congo for now. And for us, his visits in our country have to be focused on 3 or 5 things. The first one is to say clearly that the United States will make sanctions, will punish those people who are supporting armed groups in our country, those rebellions who are killing, who are robbing, who are making sexual violence in our country. The second thing on which he could be focused is to say that his country will support the democratic and credible election next year in our country. Because the previous election was not real democratic election, and the result that have been given to to Congolese wasn't the real result. And the third thing is that his country will say clearly that they will sanction, they will punish Rwanda to support the rebellions in our country like M23, who are now in the east part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The fourth thing on which he would be focused is the respect of human rights and democracy by Congolese authorities, because since some weeks, many people are arrested and put in jail because of their political opinion. And the last thing, it will be about climate and other things that can help Congolese people, because we are convinced that as he's visiting our country, it's for the interest of his own country.
Now, let's talk about the extent of interest and how much the United States can influence the security situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And I want to refer here specifically to the tensions around the deployment of the UN Defense Forces. There's obviously been years of criticism of their lack of efficacy on DRC soil, but also the problematic allegations, in fact, findings of impropriety, which also includes sexual abuse of those in communities, and just really not stopping, according to their mandate, the attacks by the insurgents. So are there expectations, at least from DRC citizens, and how much do they believe Antony Blinken can do?
We know that the main responsible of our security, they are Congolese authorities. And on the other side, the responsible of the greatest insecurity of our country, they are our neighbors, like Rwanda. And the Rwanda is supported by the United States of America. As the U.S. Secretary of State will visit Rwanda, we think that he have to be clear with Rwandan authorities to say that U.S. will make targeted sanctions against those authorities of Rwanda who are supporting M23. Even the UN group of experts, they did a report that showed that Rwanda's army is in our country, and there are many solutions. A few weeks ago, Congolese people were claiming the departure of the UN peacekeeping mission because they failed their mission to protect civilians and to fight against rebellions group. We know that US have a biggest influence, and we have to say that to US that people who are killed in our country, they are not just numbers, they are human, like Americans, like all poor persons in the world, like Ukrainians, like Israeli people. They are Congolese, they are human, they have to be counted, and they have to be respected like human. And the influence of USA have to be used to protect Congolese and to protect peace and security in our country.
And in terms of uplifting the lot of the people of the Democratic Republic of Congo, obviously a country that's been embroiled in years and decades of war and conflict, it means that its economy is really pretty much on its knees, infrastructure almost, I dare say, non-existent. So what kind of pledges are you hoping for from the United States beyond peace and security?
And the first one is about, they have to know that the majority of those people who are making benefit of decades of war in our country about economy, the majority, they are companies of Western companies. Some of them, they are Americans, and they have to make sanctions against those companies. And another thing, expectation of Congolese is about the investment of US in our country. And we know that they can't invest as there is insecurity, and the insecurity that is done and supported by Rwanda that is supported by Americans, politicians, Americans, authorities. And once all those things are being done, we think that, and we are convinced that in our country. And another thing is the US have to be clear about Congolese authorities to respect democracy, to respect human rights, and to have good and transparent elections in this country. Because once we have good leaders, once we have good governance, we have a good development and a greatest development, because the African continent will stay down as Congo is down. Once Congo is up, all the continent will be up, and the US and other countries, they have an influence to help Congolese, to support Congolese. We need just their help. It will be just in few minutes, in few times, and Congo will grow up himself.